Can you still see the presentation?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So first off, excellent. Thank you everyone for taking time out of your schedules to learn about our grant project. My name is Stephen Gentry, and I am the lead for the Visioning Access Systems, or VAS subgroup. I'm joined today by Jen Wachtel-Litwin, who is also a member of the group. And we're here to talk to you a little bit about some of the work that we've done and the grant project that we are currently pursuing. So we are currently these 5 individuals, so archivists from various institutions across the United States, including government archives, academic institutions, and the like. And we all belong to the Visioning Access System subgroup, which was founded in February in 2020 in BDAWG. At the time, we were known as the Exploring Ideal Access Systems group, and our membership has fluctuated a little bit, but overall, since our founding about a little more than 4 years ago, we've had 12 different archivists participate in the group and its work. As you can probably guess from our original name, we were focused on better understanding and learning about ideal access systems for born digital archival materials. As I'm sure you've guessed, an ideal system in any is different depending on its context. And so as a result, our group and its efforts have changed over time. So right now we're working on investigating and creating resources that fulfill the needs of folks who are charged with providing meaningful, inclusive access to born digital materials. And that's taken from a charter that we put together a few years ago. Some of the work that we've done, as I'm sure many of you are aware, focus on things like the Exploration of Access Systems framework, which most recently updated in December, which is designed to support information professionals who work with born digital archival materials by guiding them as they design, select, or implement tools, platforms, and systems, and the like. And all of that is context to bring us to the most important thing, which is for our grant project. So in May, we were happily informed that we would be receiving a Society of American Archivists Foundation, or SAAF, grant to investigate the intersection of archives and born digital archival material, and machine learning, I should say, and artificial intelligence, broadly speaking. The background behind this project is that, as I'm sure many of you are aware, machine learning and artificial intelligence has been used in very limited subsets, but especially given the rise of generative AI in the past few years, or at least its popularity, given as well the increasing scale of born digital archival collections, it's just become incredibly important for us to sort of look to the future, investigate these tools and these resources, and from our group's perspective, help provide a kind of resource that will be useful to repositories regardless of size, because we all have to deal with the same issues. So as such, each of us is engaged in a variety of different aspects into this work. I'm serving as the PI. Christina Velasquez Fiddler at Berkeley is overseeing the literature review and process management of our entire project. Jen helps with literature review and process management. Jamie Weiser at Brigham Young is helping with the literature review, survey, and managerial support. And Dara Baker at the FDIC is really helping predominantly with our forthcoming survey and publication related work at the end of the grant project. So specifically, what is going to be involved in this project? Well, first, we will be doing a 2-pronged literature review that looks at artificial intelligence and machine learning in archival settings. And then after we sort of do a broad sweep and organize this material into our Zotero library, we'll be doing a little bit more of a conducted deep dive into those resources that are particularly relevant for this project. Once we have finished with that, or to be honest, as we begin that work, we'll also be doing a survey that is targeted to all, or as many as we can get, US archival workers, that basically ask them how they are or are not using artificial intelligence and machine learning tools and technologies as part of their work, especially with regard to providing access to born digital materials. This survey will be done using Qualtrics, and will be conducted with the assistance of a eventually and soon to be hired survey assessment and a survey analyst, apologies. We will also be publishing our writings in some form between now and the grant's conclusion in mid next year. So keep your eyes peeled for hopefully something from the research forum or a journal article or some other kind of practical document explaining our findings. And we'll be also working with the Society of American Archivists Dictionary Working Group to incorporate terminology, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI, et cetera, into that document as well. And ultimately, at the end of this project, what we're hoping to do is not only build up our own knowledge and capabilities about artificial intelligence, especially given that in our past efforts, say at the Society of American conference in Boston in 2022, I believe, there was a lot of interest in using AI and machine learning, but not a whole lot of discussion about practical implications. We're hoping to not only build up our own knowledge, but share that knowledge, incorporate that knowledge into things like our framework, and overall just helping to demystify this topic, which as a group we feel is something that many people talk about, but not always get into a lot of depth in terms of how can we use these tools or these resources to really perform our core responsibilities. As another result, we're kind of hoping that whatever outcomes that we produce will be able to support our colleagues when basically doing decision making for these tools. So determining when a tool or when certain tools should be adopted, when they shouldn't be, why folks are adopting these tools, why they aren't, and facilitate SAA's advocacy efforts in other areas, such as with creating AI protections for archival work and labor. So what are we doing right now? So this is basically our earliest sort of chunk of work. And the project just started on July 1st. So we're very much in its early stages, but we've already begun to collect quite a lot of literature related to the GLAM scene and artificial intelligence and machine learning and access in any form. So far, I think our Zotero has upwards of about 600-ish resources in various formats that will be ultimately sorted and culled into something that's a little bit, I don't know, more useful and easier to read through. We're going to be recruiting and hiring that survey and assessment analyst, and so I've put together an RFP. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested in this sort of work. We'll be putting together that survey instrument in Qualtrics with the analyst support. We'll also be preparing and thinking about how we can ultimately ingest whatever data that we get into various repositories like the SAA Dataverse or BDAWG's OSF account. So that way this information could ideally be repurposed for future work. And then we're just working on some other methodology related tasks, such as developing a, what do you call it? An outreach list so that we can distribute this survey. And so how everyone here can help us. If you come across resources that are particularly valuable or you think it's important for us to be aware of, I strongly encourage you all to reach out to us. Our Zotero, that should be linked in the presentation. And I believe it's not publicly open, but it is public. So, but all of that's to say that if there's resources that you think would be valuable and you want us to consider, please send them our way. When we distribute our survey, we strongly encourage folks to take it regardless of whether or not you are using artificial intelligence and machine learning in your environments. And in fact, we really want to hear from those as well who are not using it, simply because knowing why there's hesitation perhaps could be really useful in just helping us either enhance adoption of certain areas or understand why maybe in some areas we shouldn't adopt these sorts of tools. And as well, we'd also love for folks to spread the word about the survey. The survey will ultimately be open in about a month's time to any US archival worker. And so we want to get an incredibly wide reach. And so you all would be very helpful in helping us achieve that goal. And of course, ask questions, as I'm already noticing there are a few in the chat, which I will get to momentarily. And so with all that said, that's about the gist of my my presentation. So I'm happy to answer any questions that folks might have. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I'm going to end the recording and then we'll open it up to questions.